Okay guys, emergency episode of the show because Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce just broke the internet with their engagement announcement, and I have a few reasons why you need to care, even if you're a guy, even if you are not a Swiftie. So for some context, some recap, just a few hours ago, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, they did a collabed post on Instagram. They posted photos from the proposal. They said your favorite English teacher and your favorite gym teacher just got engaged. It was very sweet. Everything's lovely. The ring is beautiful. We'll get into that later. That's not part of the cultural conversation, but if you're interested in that, I do have some details. Anyway, they announced this and the world just exploded. Like, the internet came to a screeching halt. I was seeing posts on X from people being like, oh my God, Fox News just cut away from a cabinet meeting to say Taylor Swift is officially engaged. This is how big it is. And I made the joke on X and I said, if there was ever a time for a politician to release a...
You know what I feel like right now? You know how like sometimes you'll see like a Twitter post from like, I don't know, like Pop Icon or whatever, one of those accounts, right? And it'll be like Smeagol is getting a divorce from, or is no longer dating Pumperdink, and you're like, who the are these people? And then you like look into it a little bit, and they have like 17 million loyal followers or whatever, and you're like, I am so not tapped into whatever the is going on here. That's kind of how I feel about this stuff. Okay. And what's worse is like, this is the normie sphere. Okay. This is the kind of like world changing incident for so many, if not billions of people around the planet, seemingly, that I am so not invested in, where I feel like I'm just not normal. I think I'm abnormal. Because what is normal? If it's like the overwhelming majority interest and you don't care about it at all and you can't get yourself to be enthusiastic about it, then like maybe we're the abnormal ones, you know? That's how I feel. I'm like, what is going on? Like the intensity in which people are covering this news story as though this is like a world changing event is legitimately a story in and of itself. Yeah, we are the closest we will ever be to coworker internet. Okay, this is it. This is like you got whole ass adults that work for CBS News, you know, like people that went to school, studied journalism, people that have, you know, icons that they want to be like, that have gone all around the world and have manufactured consent for the American State Department, done it all, losing their at the prospect of Taylor Swift being small girl with Travis Kelce, which is big boy. Fox News cut away from Trump to cover it is an insane statement. Like, it's not like Iran is striking Tel Aviv. You know what I mean? Like, it's just Taylor Swift getting engaged. And the very fact that people are this locked into it, and this tapped into it, like, this is a tremendous world-changing event for so many people. I don't know. It just confuses me a little bit. It makes me feel like people are desperate for a sense of community and they're just never going to reach it from anything else. So they're hyper invested in this kind of stuff because it takes away from the monotony of daily existence and the cruelty that they withstand under the structural violence of poverty. And for a brief moment, they get to feel like something good is happening in the world, you know? Or maybe it's not that deep. I don't know. Maybe it's not that deep at all. Maybe I'm reading too into it because I see like the level of reaction. There's also a sense of pageantry associated with this. I feel like some people, in an effort to be a part of something bigger than themselves, act as though they are super excited because that's the expected reaction, which in and of itself feeds back into that cycle of almost like mania that people are collectively experiencing, because they see, like, you know, grown ass people behave like this and they go, oh my God, it is a big deal. I should also think this is a big deal. Because like anytime Taylor Swift you know, does anything, it's just like CBS News, Good Morning America, NBC, everyone is covering it, and I'm always like, what is going on? But yeah, my analysis here isn't necessarily about you know, the incident, the engagement in and of itself, but more so the way that we look at celebrity worship and the way that we cover these sorts of things in mainstream news.
Story to the press that they don't really want to get any traction on. If they want to like quietly release everything they know about Epstein, now would be the time, because nobody else cares. Every single brand, every single mainstream media outlet, every single, publication, everybody, including myself, is focusing on Taylor Swift. That is how massive this is. Sorry guys, I can't even speak. There is so much going on. But you have like Buffalo Wild Wings, you have Culver's, like all of these random restaurants and big corporate accounts tweeting, being like, we'll cater the wedding, we'll cater the engagement. Like everybody is 100% focused on this. And I think that this is, for a couple of reasons. Number one, Taylor Swift is like the biggest pop star in the entire world right now. You have women that care about her and that are interested in her and her marriage and her engagement. Travis Kelce is also wildly famous and popular around, American men, people who care about football. Alex and I were eating lunch. He picked up his phone and his fantasy football app had literally been like, guys, special announcement, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged. So it is literally everywhere. But also I do think that this speaks to a broader conversation about love and marriage in 2025, specifically on the topic of forever boyfriends, because Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift just got engaged after 2 years of dating. And that might seem like normal in the grand scheme of things, but in 2025, when you go on social media and you see girls that have been with their boyfriends for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that are still waiting on an engagement, that are these like forever girlfriends, this kind of relationship can seem like an anomaly. And Taylor Swift basically just blew up that entire idea that you have to be a forever girlfriend in order to get the ring. That is just not true. Because if we think about her previous relationship with Joe Alwyn, she was with that man for 7 years. And there have been rumors that she was like actually engaged to him, but it was really private, but he was this like artsy, like deep actor, all of these things. He like desperately wanted.
I want to point something here, out here as well. This is not my take either. Okay. I feel like this is too woke. This is the one friend who's too woke. Agree. It's super weird to be worried about the fascist takeover of our country to give a fuck about engagement of a man who, like, the first part about this, I kind of agree with. The second part about this, I don't care about. A man who defended his Christian nationalist teammate and woman who refused to use their platform to fight our future dictatorship until said future dictator posted a deepfake AI of her supporting him. Like, I think that's a little bit too woke as well. I will say, like, my assessment here overall is that like there are, really horrible things happening all around us every single day. And I guess like people are desperate for some kind of moment of solace from the evil that is unfolding in real time. And I guess that's the reason why they're like desperately clinging on to this as though it's like a life raft, right? That's how I feel about it. But I do wish that people cared a little bit more about, the baby Holocaust that is unfolding and the fascist takeover that is also happening in broad daylight at the domestic level. Why does Brett think this changes culture with respect to getting married? It's a bit of monkey see, monkey do situation. I think that like she is a influential person. So that's the reason why maybe, 9/11 for every guy with a serious girlfriend in their late 20s. Because then other people are going to be like, well, what about me? Maybe, Taylor Swift got into a serious relationship, and then also Travis Kelce pulled the trigger. It's my time now. What is this? Yeah, this is another version of that story as well. If Taylor Swift gets pregnant, we're going to see a bigger baby boom than after World War II, So it's her turn. Yeah, I think like there is, I think people are overemphasizing how much of a societal impact this will have. I will go so far as to say that the real significant hurdle for marriage for many young people in the United States of America as it stands, is not necessarily, the traditionalist society losing their way and not caring or respecting the institution of marriage anymore. It's just money. And that financial imperative, that financial hurdle is too hard to overcome simply because Taylor Swift got engaged. Congratulations, Taylor Swift, but it should be illegal to have sex with someone that can't read. Okay, Jesus Christ.
Wanted his privacy, wanted her to hide the relationship. She was like not in the public eye for 7 years straight, and basically dragged her along in that relationship. And I'm not just saying that because I'm speculating. Like, this is what she wrote about in one of her previous albums. In her song You're Losing Me, she said, like, I gave all of my youth for free to you. In So Long London, I believe that she wrote something very similar. Those two lines, sometimes I get confused, but she wrote about this at length, saying, like, I gave you all of my great years and you took advantage of that. Like, I poured so much into this relationship, just waiting, like hanging on. In So Long London, she writes about like clenching onto the relationship, like white knuckling it, being like, I'm not going down with the ship, I'm not abandoning it. And then 7 years later, getting nothing back and realizing I've just like let my life be on hold and I've been waiting for this person who doesn't want to commit to me. Anyway, that was her previous relationship. She was the forever girlfriend. She moves on. She meets this incredible guy who comes to her concert, who literally has like a friendship bracelet with his number on it, who was publicly making these huge declarations of love, which she said in her recent podcast episode with him and Jason. She was saying,
how is it legal to marry this person? I just gave a squarely a paise of bread and it straight smashed all of it. I had no idea they ate bread like that. Haha, hashtag crazy. I think someone said, just imagine he got 14 more years of brain injuries now. I don't mind that, you know. The boys can have the fellas can have a little bit of a life-changing brain injury as a treat, okay? That should not take something away from them.
Like, this is the kind of love that I've written about for 15 years. Like, I've wanted a guy to like show up with a boombox and be like, I love you, I want to be with you. And that's basically what Travis did. And they've had this like amazing love affair over the last 2 years. And now they're engaged, you know.
The very fact that the worst thing you can pull up from 2011 Twitter for a white guy who, you know, gets head injuries professionally, the very fact that that's the worst tweet you can pull up means that Travis Kelce is a saint. Okay? I'll say that much. White boys in 2011 Twitter were slinging far worse than feeding squirrelies pieces of bread. Okay? They were slinging something entirely different. That's all I'm going to say on that.
A fraction of the time that she was in that relationship with Joe Alwyn. So that's one part of it. So you do not need to be a forever girlfriend if you are in a relationship like that. I'm sure that the guys are like, oh my God, I need to go buy a ring. Girls are rethinking everything, which brings me to the next point of why this engagement is so relevant and important right now. And it's because I don't know if there are any hard studies on this. I don't think that there are, but celebrity relationships and celebrity marriages play a huge role in the cultural tone of an era. Like, think about David Beckham and Victoria Beckham and their wedding. Think about...
No, I don't think it's that deep. I think she's like trying to turn this into like a right-wing traditionalist pro-marriage argument where she's trying to say like, oh, everyone's going to get married now, that type of shit, right? And I don't think so. Like I said, I mean, will this lead to an increase in engagements? Maybe. But I think that the real hurdle in front of younger people getting married right now is, one, young men are not, okay? They are not. They're moving away from that. That's number one. Number two, everybody's too broke, okay? Everybody's just far too broke. What do you mean? Starting a family? Who's got time or money for that? That's an investment.
Out, you know, Princess Kate and Prince William and their wedding. That was huge. The royal wedding was talked about for years. Just, you know, a couple of years ago, we had Sophia Richie's wedding, which basically made so many women, you know, decide that they wanted to get married and have kids, that they wanted to stop dressing like hoes and be classy. She like ushered in this like quiet, luxury, modest type of fashion. Like, these relationships, these weddings, these marriages, they have the power to change culture. And if you think that Taylor Swift getting married, being engaged, being in a long-term relationship is not going to do that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is the end-all be-all for women around the world right now. I was about to say women in America, but really around the world right now. And you might think that this is kind of ridiculous, but she is signaling that marriage is something to strive for, that love is worth seeking out, that you...
What? Bro, it's just like a normal component. What are we talking about? Like, I feel like these guys believe the hysteria that they cultivate. Okay? I'm not even kidding when I say right-wingers genuinely hallucinate an alternative reality, and then they get freaked out by said hallucination. Like, at what point is there a serious initiative to be like, marriage? Like, no, people, they fall in love and they get married is normal. It's like the most normal thing, okay? And then they get divorced. That's also normal in America, especially. Like this is not like a bold stance that Taylor Swift has taken to relitigate and revitalize the traditional institution of marriage. What do you mean? You made that up. You made the first part up. Yeah, but it's okay to not want to be married and I have relationships. It's like everybody doesn't often get married. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't give a shit one way or the other because I'm not a weirdo. What the
You should wait for an amazing guy that you should, follow that institution, and seek that commitment, I guess is what.
Yeah, Taylor Swift had a sandwich today, reinforcing the institution of lunch. Taylor Swift had a nice little treat in between her lunch, reinforcing that institution too, that treats are good sometimes. It's like, no, it's just like what people do,
I'm trying to say. And so I'll be interested to see what comes from this. I doubt that they're going to do some huge elaborate wedding. I feel like it'll be more of an elopement. I don't think she would, I feel like she would blow up the wedding industrial complex if she tried to do some big kind of wedding. But I think that this marriage really is going to change things. And I think that it is objectively positive. Like, regardless of how you feel about Taylor Swift, like I would not consider myself a diehard Swiftie. I was not like a Swiftie for you.
That's cope. She's literally only saying that because Taylor Swift is like a Kamala Harris booster. So she has to keep her right-wing bona fides, okay? Bona fides. By being like, oh, I don't even like Taylor Swift like that. I was like, come on. You're literally losing your mind over this.
Years and years and years, but I do love her music, and I think that she's a really interesting person and a really interesting case study, and she's really important when it comes to our culture. But I do think...
I'm sorry. Dude, every diehard Swiftie unironically says that, including but not limited to QT Cinderella, okay? You started dropping lyrics. Like, you started with lyrical analysis. You're a diehard Swiftie.
That this is objectively positive, and what I was trying to say is that even if you are not a diehard fan, you should see this as something that is good. And I know that conservatives like to rag on her. Trump was posting, a couple months ago being like, I ended her, she's irrelevant. No, she's not. Like, love her or hate her, she is incredibly, incredibly influential. She is incredibly popular, and we should be rooting for her to set a good example for women and men around the world. And I think that she is doing that with this engagement, with this marriage. So anyway, I wish her all the best. This was a very exciting thing to spend my day reading about. And then for any of the chicks out there who are interested in her ring, because I was 100% interested in it, it's stunning. It's like very intricate. It looked antique. So I texted our jeweler that made my engagement ring with Alex, who's become a really good friend of ours. That feels like so bougie to say, but he just has become a good friend. And I was like, I need information about this. So according to Oren, that's his name, according to Oren, it is an elongated old mine cut ring, and most likely antique or antique inspired. And he said that it's really rare to have a mine cut that is that big. So just saying, good job, Travis. Allegedly, it
Yeah, that's what I say when I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I panic called my jeweler, who is now my friend, to get additional details about what kind of cut the ring was.
Was like $550,000, which is like literally insane. But also she's a billionaire and he makes however much money from like the NFL and Pfizer. So it is to be expected. Anyway, that is your update about Taylor Swift. Those are the reasons
she had to throw Pfizer in there.
Why you should care. I think this is good for culture. It is good for society. It is good for young women. This is setting a great example. And also, it just has to be said, for the guys online who say that women like hit a wall at 28 years old, who say you're never going to have kids after 28 or 30, you're never going to have any prospects, you're never going to get married.
Oh, she's getting too woke. She's hold up, cut this part out. That's too woke. You can't be saying that. You're a right-wing commentator. What is this?
Come on. Taylor Swift just got engaged at 35 years old. She is at the top of her career. She is so happy. She is succeeding. She is thriving. She is stunning. she's not hit the wall. So if you are not engaged or married by 28 or 30 or 35, just know you have not hit the wall. It is not too late.
Wait, what do you mean? Like even, okay, never mind. Even her like woke argument still revolves around getting married. As in, that's the ultimate goal of every woman. Bro, you're talking about a billionaire. F me, she hit the wall. She is basically like a deity, okay, in modern day. She is worshipped by half of society automatically. What do you mean? Hey, ladies, if you're 28 and still not married, don't worry, you haven't hit a wall. Your worth is, of course, still measured by whether or not you can secure a man and be a loyal and faithful wife to said man and bear his children. But you can still do that at the age of 28, at the age of 30. It's like, what do you mean? At first, I thought she was going to make a woke argument. Like, you're not measured by your age. Your societal worth should not be matched up with like your capabilities for like child rearing or something. But she's like, nah, it is. It's just you can still do it. Also, the person she's pointing to in this situation is, once again, Taylor Swift. Like, you can still become a multi-billionaire, and then you can find a man at the age of 38 or what? I mean, 30, whatever, how old she is? Not 38. I'm sorry. 28 is what she was saying. It's so crazy. It's all busted.
This is always something to strive for. Love is something that you should seek out. You should find a good man. You should find a good woman. And you should not be red-pilled by people on the internet. Black-pilled by people on the internet. So that's my message for you today. All right. See you guys later.
This morning,
Yeah, Trump fires the Federal Reserve governor. Boring. Okay, one last thing I want to point to here is Charlie Kirk's assessment, okay?
Why Taylor Swift has been so just kind of annoyingly liberal over the last couple of years is that she's not yet married and she doesn't have children. I say this non-sarcastically. I say this as a husband and a father. Having children changes you. Getting married.
Dog, you got worse. So I don't know. Maybe not the best argument. You became a worse person in the last, you were already pretty bad. And it was actually remarkable because, people were saying, can he get worse? Is that even physically possible? And then he was like, nah, I can prove it.
Married changes you. And I hope that America's biggest pop star marrying the pharmaceutical spokesperson.
These guys are crazy, man. You're talking about Travis Kelce, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy to me to talk about a Chiefs tight end like this. This is so soy objectively. Okay? This plays in the NFL and these guys are so butthurt that, yeah, 3-time Super Bowl champion tight end for the Chiefs, Travis Kelce is a Pfizer spokesperson. Shut the up, dude. That is crazy. This is the type of that I think unironically pisses people off more when they're like, what the are you talking about? Oh, yeah, he did a Pfizer sponsorship. Yeah, this is no different than when people call football sports ball. It is. It's got real sports ball energy. Shut up, nerd. Is he doing the receding hairstyle? I don't know what's going on with this. I've never seen a widow's peak like this. He literally has the Vegeta cut straight up. It's so funny because his head shape looks exactly like a balloon. So even if he were to buzz that off, he's cooked. Because eventually he's supposed to give that up, right? And when he does, it's going to look even crazier because it's just going to straight up look like an egg. He looks like a cartoon character running around looking like Kakarot. Talking about can't even go Super Saiyan. It's so bad.
Ends up conservatizing them. Taylor Swift might de-radicalize herself. She might come back down to reality. I want them to have lots of children. It teaches you something about yourself. Deep down, I think Taylor Swift actually was raised as a conservative that has gotten kind of caught up in this metropolitan liberal stuff, and she doesn't quite have an attachment to the conservative backbone that she was raised in, but this might reattach her in the best possible way. And I'm not saying this sarcastically. I've seen this happen time and time again. When people start to get married and have children, it starts to change your politics. It starts to clarify your worldview. And for Taylor Swift, who obviously is very popular and incredibly...
Bro, that's crazy. If you Google Taylor Swift, if you go on Google right now, okay, and type in Taylor Swift, look at this. Oh, wait, it didn't happen. It happened, but when I first did it, there's like confetti. That's motion. I mean, there was like, I got confetti. I got hit with confetti.
Supported. Taylor Swift might go from a cat lady to a JD Vance supporter.
I just don't understand. First of all, ew, gross. Do these guys unironically think that like people who are liberal don't get married or something? Like, is that like a legitimate thing that's happening over there? I mean, they just hallucinate everything regardless. So they might as well hallucinate this too, you know? Like they just made this shit up in their minds. They're like, people on the left don't get married. People who are liberals don't get married, obviously. And when you do get married, you become conservative. Like, what? You're just wish casting. You're just wish casting. That's it. Also, if you want to know about who's doing polygamy, for example, or another version of polyamory, I guess, it's the Utah conservatives. It's the Mormons. Okay? Who's doing serialized polyamory? It's not the furries. I mean, they're doing it too, let's be real, but like, it's the goddamn Mormon church. Talk about non-traditional marriage. It's just not considered in the same way. It's just because you own that space, I guess. The unethical version of polyamory. Again, people love to talk about like the sexual proclivities of liberals, right? You know who swings extra hard? Every goddamn wine mom, racist wine mom that is a part of like Saving the Family Institution Foundation or whatever, that's like constantly talking about how like trans people need to be eradicated from society. Those are the people that are doing polyamory and they're swinging like crazy. Nancy Mace is the best example of this. Nancy Mace is on video receiving a spat out shot from the most ziz looking lesbian woman I've ever seen wearing a MAGA shirt, only to spit it into the mouth of another person. I'm not going to run the clip. I'm not going to do that for you right now. Is polygamy not polyamory? Shut up. I know. I'm saying it's unethical polyamory. That's what I said, okay? For the wokes out there, I know it's not the same. I'm just simply stating that it is not a traditional form of like a man marrying a woman type marriage, okay?
And I think we should celebrate that. I think that Taylor Swift having 2 or 3 children, she should have more children than she has houses. That is my challenge, Taylor Swift. And I'm not being sarcastic. I think that if she ends up having children, she'll stop this kind of liberal endorsing Joe Biden nonsense. And we want Taylor Swift on Team America. We want you to leave the island of the wokies. And we would welcome you with open arms. One of the reasons why so many people on the right have been just skeptical or at least a little bit negative on Taylor Swift is up until this point, that's not a great role model for young women to wait all.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan myself. Okay. But how the is a person who is like endlessly successful and doesn't really have any sort of serious controversy associated with her, not a positive role model for young women? As a matter of fact, her consistent avoidance of even putting her name out there and associating herself with like progressive politics is part of that process. She's the most brand safe institution you can point to. She got less flubs and less controversy than like multi-million-dollar corporations from the framework that liberals care about, by the way. I'm not saying that multi-million-dollar corporations are not riddled with controversy. Of course they are. It's built on top of the unequal extraction of wealth and natural resources and labor power from the global south. I'm not getting into all of that. I'm just saying, even within a liberal framework, which Charlie Kirk operates in, like, she has no controversies, even no controversies for conservatives. That's why so many conservative white women can enjoy Taylor Swift's content, regardless of her, I guess, controversial position of being a woman who is immensely successful. It's just, Charlie Kirk is advocating for a reality that does not exist, okay? It does not make any goddamn sense to me when I tried to analyze this from the liberal monolithic culture that we exist under, the liberal hegemony that we exist under. Like, why the shouldn't the average wine mom or wine dad not look to Taylor Swift as like a positive role model for their children? Why? Because she wasn't married until 35? Get the out of here. Oh, she's not barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen for her husbando. Very strange, very stupid assessment.
All the way until you're 35 and just put your career first. We just talked about this with Katie Miller. However, there's a great chance to change that. It's a great chance for Taylor Swift now to get married and have a ton of children. You can certainly afford it, Taylor. And Taylor Swift has been all, through America and the ups and the downs. And if you feel that violent shaking in your home, that is the earthquake of the pop culture. If you hear that high-pitched scream, those are the young ladies on your block screaming. And honestly, Pfizer pays well, baby. I mean, Pfizer pays the bills. That is quite a ring, Mr. Kelsey. I'm impressed. I got to be honest. We don't know exactly how much Pfizer paid you to peddle that product. But boy, you brought in the Benjamins.
3-time Super Bowl winner, dude. What the are you talking about? Like, he's not just a NFL guy. He is an incredibly famous NFL tight end who won 3 Super Bowl rings. What the are you saying? It's not Pfizer, okay? It's every other brand deal that he has on top of that. Why the would you think, dude? Yeah, his career earnings is like $100 million. What are you talking about, bro? Oh, dude, the Pfizer. It's Pfizer. He just got the Pfizer. Remember, he got the Pfizer money. He's woke. Like, as though that's a own.
Sir, that is some impressive carrots right there. That right there has its own zip code. I'm impressed. All kidding and sarcasm aside, this is something that I hope will make Taylor Swift more conservative, engage in reality more and get outside of the abstract clouds, reject feminism, submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. And most importantly,
dude, what happened to shame? Anytime I hear unfiltered commentary from any conservative, I'm like, you should be ashamed to have these words come out of your mouth, dude. Oh, submit to your husband. Like, what? Like, you have a wife. Does your wife not hear you say this shit? Like, I don't get it. Do you not feel some type of way when you hear your husband talk like this? The father to your daughter talk like this? What a psychotic thing to talk about. What a psychotic thing to say. Prepare to be clipped this on, but he did bro tips. What? Okay. Yeah. Bro, how does he have a wife? I mean, he's famous in conservative circles. But it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me that you are not even remotely embarrassed to over 10 years ago. It's longer than that. It's 2013. It's 12 now. These guys are constantly looking for like new master slave dynamics. Like, where it's not enough to just like have a permanent underclass with like undocumented migrants. It's not enough to constantly like relitigate this false sense of racial superiority with white supremacy. It's like women are also second class too. Everybody but me. They just gotta find new metas. I mean, it's not a new meta necessarily. It is the oldest meta, one might even say. But it's so stupid to try to relitigate this in 2025, especially with words such as this, especially when talking about clearly the more prominent person in that relationship being Taylor Swift. Why can't they be equal partners? That should be enough, right? Regardless of people's like financial circumstances, that should be your goal. A marriage is supposed to be a lifelong partnership between two even partners, your equal partner. How can you? This is what I never understand about the way these guys operate. Like, why the would you ever make a lifelong commitment to a human being that you clearly do not respect at all, that you unironically actively undermine the humanity of? It doesn't make sense. You must not respect yourself. Either you're faking or there's just something completely busted in this. Why the would you literally make a lifelong commitment to a person that you are supposed to spend every waking moment with, a person who is going to shape your next generation, a person who is going to turn around and help in the process of raise your kids, a person who is going to be half the gene pool of like whatever you're bringing out, and you literally think that person is not a peer, is not a partner, is not an equal? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that to yourself? Even, do you really believe this? Oh, I got married because I could just like have a slave in my house. What the? I don't understand it, dude. I don't. When are you supposed to debate this pod? No, it's happening next month, in a couple weeks actually. Not that far out.
I can't wait to go to a Taylor Kelsey concert. I can't say it without laughing. You got to change your name. If not, you don't really mean it. Congratulations, Taylor.
I don't understand this at all, bro. I don't. It's so disrespectful. Like, you must be servile to your husband. You must be your husband's servant. He's the one that wears the pants now. Like, you only say that when you're insecure about whatever you're lacking in your own personal relationship, that you have to constantly relitigate this. You have to constantly bring it up. It's like insecure manosphere losers all the time talking about how macho they are, how masculine they are, how alpha they are. It's like, oh, you're lacking. You have a deep-seated, deep-rooted insecurity within yourself. You are an incredibly, unimaginably insecure person. So you constantly have to reinforce this kind of sentiment to make yourself feel better. Okay? And the same goes for every different kind of bigotry, for sure. But in this conversation, like, constantly reminding people how things are supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. A woman is your servant. You're doing that because you're just insecure. That's it. Why the would you develop a lifelong partnership and constantly have to deal with, if you truly believe this, right? You're sharing this space with this person. You're sharing your darkest secrets with this person. Why would you ever do that with someone you don't respect? Do you have no self-respect whatsoever? I guess the answer is yes. He's such a goddamn brown noser that he's just a vehicle for whatever conservative sentiment must be spat out to as broad an audience as possible, that it is just like deep-seated insecurity. I don't know. I will never understand that. If you don't respect women in general, then why the would you ever spend an entire lifetime with one? Why would you be confident enough to assume that they're going to be able to raise your next of kin? You're just locking yourself into a horrible situation. You got to fix your own brain before you get there. You know? I don't think it's a partnership to them. It's ownership. Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. Do you not understand what I mean here? What do you think is a healthier alternative? Having a lifelong confidant and an even partner that you respect, or owning property? One is an incredibly lonely, incredibly arduous self-own that you engage in. If you don't fix your mindset about women broadly and you entertain this notion of marriage, then you're just cooking yourself for no reason. Like, literally no reason whatsoever. You're just stuck. President Trump has reacted to the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce engagement. I just want to give you a little taste of that, and I want your feedback on this.
To ask you a serious question, but
Can you hear it?
I have to tell you the biggest pop culture news of the year broke while we were in this cabinet meeting. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck.
Thank you.
I think I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
On a serious note,
literally call her like a bitch.
We want to turn out a breaking news.
He did.